Okay, so, I'm sorry guys. So, American popular culture is grounded in consumption, right? So if the mood, right, of the Americans affect the stock market, the consumption is grounded, right, in popular culture, right? So whether we're looking at it, direct purchase of goods and services, the enjoyment of music, movies, and television, or simply the use of your iPhone, right? And then I put a ... right? And I enclosed it in double quotation marks, right? And I put a parenthetical citation right here, and inside has a page number. But I didn't put the name of the authors, which I should have. What are the name of the authors? That's right, Masick and Solomon. Right. Let me make sure I spelled your name right. Yes, I did. Okay. So Masick and, yes?
Do you want us to be writing like the author's name and the,
Yes.
even on our like journal?
Yes, that's why I'm saying this. That's why I'm saying this, because I want you to do it. And that's why I asked him, and that's why I typed it in there, because I wanted you to see me do it, so that you know that that's what I want. Okay? Now, let's look at page 406. Okay? How about, let's see, you are, now it starts with an H. What's the second letter?
E. I don't have that book though.
Heather. Heather, right? Heather? Okay. So, okay. Then you guys all share this one. Okay? So I'm tired of listening to myself read. Read that under where it starts on page 406. Okay? Start reading.
Whenever you include a paraphrase, summary, or direct quotation of another writer's work in your paper, prepare your readers.
Slow down. I can't hear that fast.
Whenever you include a paraphrase, summary, or direct quotation of another writer's work in your paper, prepare your readers for it with introductory words called a signal phrase. A signal phrase usually names the author of the source and often provides some context for the source material. When you write a signal phrase, choose a verb that is appropriate for the way you are using the source.
Stop. Okay, so when you write a signal phrase, choose a verb that is appropriate for the source, right? So make note of that. If you do not have your book with you, okay, you should be taking notes. Okay. Remember, let's take a look at our syllabus because I want to show you what the notebook, how I'm going to grade you on the notebook. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the syllabus. And it's also on our, this is you. You need all these materials. Let's go to the syllabus. Notebook journal, let's make it small so you can see it all together. Okay? Your notebook journal is 20 points, right? You will keep a notebook journal that you will use to write in. Please use pen. Date all entries. So I'm going to look for today's date. Okay? And I'm going to look for that title, right? Consuming Passions, the Culture of American Consumption. Right? So you'll use it to write down reading notes from all assigned texts. So that's this stuff. Reading notes. This stuff is going to be in your journal from all assigned texts. Okay? Reading notes from research, when you go research and look for your articles to support your thesis statements. Such as peer-reviewed articles, books, credible websites for each essay. You're going to have reading notes for those also. Pre-writes for essays, your little jot downs, doodly-doodly-doodles, right? Outlines for your essays, the beginnings of them. Any clusters, if you're a clusterer, or maybe you like to draw cartoons. I don't know how you organize it, but I want to see some organization, essay structuring. within your notebook, okay? Notes from group work, when you're in a group, I want some notes, even if it was, oh, she told me that she liked fried chicken, right? I want it in there, the date, right? Okay? Notes from films watched, shown in class. Yeah, we're going to watch Capitalism, right? We also might watch Fed Up. I got some films, right? In-class notes like today, right? It's going to be checked 3 times. So the first time it's going to be, right, worth how many points, right? Only 3. Okay? The second time it's going to be 7. The last time 10. Right? So out of 135 points, 20 points is big deal. Okay? So I should be always seeing your notebook. All right, so now let's go back here. Now, so we're going to create a quotation together. Okay? So now, people in consumer societies use their possessions to communicate with one another, which is to say that consumer goods aren't simply objects, they're signs or codes. From the out and out status symbols, whose purpose is to convey your place in the social hierarchy. What does hierarchy mean?
Level?
Does anyone know?
Your rating.
Rating. Okay, so now that's a word that should be circled in your book, and you should define it, right? So hierarchy should be defined, right? So what does hierarchy mean? Okay, so it means, right, it's a status, scale, right, from high to low, where high is good and low is bad, and it's linear. So you're either up or you're down. Okay? It's a linear pattern. Okay? So now, that's what this book is telling us, right? And yeah, we do. We live in a hierarchical society. Sad to say, but it is true. And this is on page 72, all right? Now, let's make a quotation for this. Now, here we've got the quotation marks, right? And now look, you notice something right here? I put a little, it's like a bracket, right? And then I wrote 4 codes. If you look at your book on page 72 in that top paragraph, I've included this, okay? So you can include 1 or 2 words in a quotation, right? That's it. That's it, okay? And this is how you do it. You put a bracket, and then you put whatever you want to include. You close the bracket, okay? Now, always be in the habit of putting the quotation marks. Now, at the end, I put a ... This is the MLA, but I'm going to show you how I was taught, because I'm old school, right? When I went to school, there was no internet the first time I went to college. What? No internet? That's right. You guys are so privileged, you don't know how hard that was to do research. You have everything at your fingertips. I had to go into a library, right, with a paper and a pencil that didn't work, and try to write down call numbers. They made you learn Dewey Decimal. And you had to go find it, and usually whatever you found, you couldn't use. So you had to get in a line, stand in line. Now you could just open your computer and use the research. It's at your fingertips. You're blessed. So you don't know how lucky you are. I just told you. Okay, so now, who said it? What are the authors' names? Okay, Masick and Solomon, but what are their full names? So let's say this is the first time we mention them in our text, right, in our paper. What are their full names?
Sonia, Masick, and Jack Solomon.
So Sonia, Masick, and Jack Solomon right? And what is the title of their book?
Signs of Life in the USA.
In their book, Signs of Life in the USA. Is that it? Or does it say something else? Readings on popular cultures for what? For writers. Right? Well, that's the first time we mentioned their book, right? Okay, so now let's do this. We're going to put a comma, right? And let's go over here behind the last name of the author and put a comma, right? I need a space right here. Okay? Now, this is the title of a book. Titles of books are in parentheses. Okay? Now, what if we said this? Wait a minute. In the chapter, right? Let me go back over here. Oh, wrong one. In the chapter, right? What if this is all you saw, and you didn't know what book it came out of, and you thought it was an article, which could be acceptable, right? Because, right? In the chapter, Consuming Passions, the Culture of American Consumption, right? So here's another way. Now, this, I want you to see the difference. So that's why I want to keep it in caps. This would not be italicized because it's a chapter, okay? This would be in quotation marks, right? So, titles of books are italicized, and the titles of articles, chapters, smaller works are encased in quotation marks. That's an answer for your midterm. Okay. Now, so Sonia Mazik and Jack Solomon, in their book, Signs of Life, Readings and Popular Culture for Writers, then we go into the quotation, right? But we need a verb. So now you've got a box in your, on your page 406. Look at that box. Now it says verbs and signal phrases, because we're creating a signal phrase, right? And a signal phrase marks the boundaries between your words and someone else's. Okay? So now let's put a verb in there. What do we want to use? What do you have? What do you see? Just read some of them out. Acknowledges. So Sonia Mazik and Jack Solomon, in their book, Signs of Life in the USA, Readings on Popular Culture for Writers, acknowledge. Does that make sense? Are they acknowledging? No, so that's not a good one. Come on, let's look at some verbs. What do we got? Throw down. You got the book. Read some off. Let's choose a verb. Claims, right? Claim, right? Oh, that's a good one. I like that. Because it is a claim. Claim, right? That. Now, we put it together. Well done, you. Right? So now I'm going to make some colors here so you can see something. This is a signal phrase. This is a parenthetical citation. Yes?
When you say claim that, do you mean that, or is that just style?
No. Claim that. right? Claim that people in consumer societies, right? Claim people in consumer societies, right? You can do either or. Okay? So now we've got this, right? So read it. You're up front, read it. Say your name for me.
Brian,
Brian, read this for me, please, babe.
Sonia Masick and Jack Solomon, in their book Signs of Life in the USA, reading on popular cultures for writers, claim that people in consumer societies use their possessions to communicate with one another, which is to say that consumer goods aren't simply objects, they're signs or codes from out-and-out status symbols whose purpose is to convey your place in your social hierarchy. 72.
Yeah. Now, was it not a lot better than just putting the quotation, right? It signaled that somebody else's words are coming. And then it also told us what page it was from. So that's what you must do when you borrow somebody else's words or paraphrase. And if you don't, you can be accused of plagiarism. Okay? So always do that. Now we've got to do the next thing that a quotation needs, right? Because remember I gave you a quotation worksheet, right? So you need the unpacking. So why is this important? So people in consumer societies use their possessions to communicate with one another, which is to say, right, consumer goods aren't simply objects. They're signs or codes from out-and-out status symbols whose purpose is to convey your place in a hierarchical society, right? Now, how about this? I like this quotation because advertising, or how about this? The advertising industry is aware that items are coded for status and use this concept to exploit consumers' base desires. That's what I add to it. That's why it's important to me. So if my teacher asks me why I like it, this is the why I like it. Okay. So now, this quotation has everything it needs. It's got a signal phrase, it's got the quoted material in quotation marks, right? It has a parenthetical citation, and it has the unpacking. Okay? And it has the unpacking, just like your outline. All right, so now let's go back here. Now let's turn that off.